The following episode of the Lions of Liberty podcast contains extensive use of explicit adult language, so hide the kids and listen accordingly.
He's kind of adorable.
He's adorable. He was played by Cuba Gooding Jr. in a movie about his life.
He's adorable because it's like you hear him, he's speaking and he's kind of stuttering and he seems unsure. You just want to take him home and give him a bath, you know. Maybe put a couple towels down in the corner and let him curl up over there.
Welcome to the Lions of Liberty podcast. Here is your host, your guide, your shining beacon of liberty, Marc Clair.
Welcome back, kiddies, to the Lions of Liberty podcast. This is episode, oh my god, I can't believe it, 143. That's not a milestone at all, but it is a big number for me. I never thought we'd even make it to 43. And you can find the show notes for today's show over at lionsofliberty.com/143. How simple. And this is, of course, no ordinary edition of this show. We are convening another session of one of my favorite features, possibly my favorite, Libertarians in living rooms drinking liquor. And next to me right here in the Lions of Liberty studios in Los Angeles, California, I have a Libertarian who is drinking liquor, as it might be. So, Brian McWilliams, welcome on back.
Thank you. Good to be here next to you, breathing in your manly musk once more, Mark.
And what are you drinking over there?
Well,
I know because I can see it.
You know because you can actually physically see it.
For people at home.
It's the same as I was drinking last time because I left it here as a gift of goodwill to you. But I'm drinking a particular scotch called Old Smuggler blended Scotch whiskey. I bought this year bottle for about $16. I don't even think you can find it anymore. So there's no plug involved. And I've had a rough weekend. My Philadelphia Eagles suck crazy balls, so I'm recovering from that. And the Old Smuggler went down smooth the first sip and then snuck up on me. Now it's kind of stabbing my insides. But I'm going to keep drinking it.
That was quick.
One sip in already.
I don't want to forget that because I often gloss over myself, but I am drinking. It's the last of my beers from our fan, Blaine Stansel, that he sent us from the Rough Tail Brewing Company. And this is a beer called Hoptometrist. And I will say, it's quite hoppy.
I was going to say, it probably sounds pretty hoppy.
It is. It's got a really cool logo here, which no one can see.
It does. Well,
but just trust me.
Post a picture in the show notes.
Maybe I will. And we're going to go around. We are also going to bring in our resident legal counsel. He is hailing from, I don't know where he is right now. He's always traveling. He hails from Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know where you're currently hailing from, but he's the man we refer to simply as Rico.
What's up, bozos?
Bozos.
The exact same way he opens every case. What's up, bozos of the jury? How are you jerks doing?
I have not heard the phrase bozo used in quite some time, and I'm glad we brought it back here.
It's a great word, and it needs to be used more.
And what are you drinking over there, bozo?
I am drinking some hot cider with rum and a little bit of cinnamon in it.
Wow.
Concoction.
What a nice fall little beverage.
It is.
Are you sitting around a fire?
No, I'm sitting around a computer, obviously.
All right.
My first full day back in the United States in 18 days, so I'm recovering from a little jet lag.
Where did you go?
That's a good thing to talk about. He went to Thailand, and
Oh, well, we probably can't talk about most of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was in Thailand and then the Maldives.
Well, we can talk about legal prostitution. That's something we should definitely talk
we were
about.
everywhere.
We can definitely talk about that. I have been there as well, and I think it's actually not legal, but it's like the most, it's the most illegal thing in history. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah, clearly.
I saw like 2 cops in the entire country.
They have these clubs called like friends clubs and stuff. Like, it's weird. We'll get into that in a minute, though.
I feel like our special guest probably knows a thing or two.
Yeah, well, speaking of bozos and prostitutes, I'd like to welcome in our very special guest here, and that is the one and only, the host of the Johnny Rocket Launchpad, Johnny Rocket himself, Johnny Adams.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
Awesome. I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much for having me on here.
Of course, man. Anytime. And what are you sipping on over there, pal?
I am drinking Smirnoff vodka.
Ooh, straight?
Straight, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
You are a true man. That's all I got to say.
And smoking camels. There we go.
Nice. I could hear a camel tinge to your throat. I figured I was going to say.
That's what makes the radio show so fucking badass. And you got to have the little bit of the Tom Waits action going on here,
totally.
you know.
And Johnny, just to make sure I don't forget, because with the drinking and stuff, it's a good chance I might by the end of the show. But I want to make sure you get your plugs in. So for anyone out there that's not familiar with your show, and shame on them because your show rocks, why don't you tell everyone about the Johnny Rocket Launchpad, where they can find it, what it's all about?
Well, you can find us at JohnnyRocketLaunchpad.com, and basically we do a libertarian radio show here in Seattle, Washington, and we drink and we interview, or rather have a conversation with some pretty awesome guests every week. Marc Clair was on the show a couple episodes ago.
I was the highest rated episode, I presume.
You're damn close, man.
Really?
You are damn close.
Is that true?
Yeah.
You're not just jerking me around?
No, you're like
it's in the top 70
among certain demographics. He's slicing and dicing it to find the appropriate answers.
Yeah.
Like you're number
He's
one
like,
among paraplegics who are
good?
addicted to marijuana.
Mark's show was awesome.
Yeah, we had a blast. I'm sure you guys have both listened to it. I'm not going to wait for your answer. I'm just going to assume. Makes me feel better that way.
I'm nodding.
I will, of course, post that episode in the show notes, as well as your interview that you did with me. You've been on the show before. We did a little one-on-one session. But now we're going to get real. We're going to break out the booze and chat about some things. And as you guys know, as anyone who listens to this show knows, I'm the least prepared host of all time, at least on these episodes. So I haven't even seen the GOP debate. I've seen about 2 clips of it. I've literally not stopped in the last week. I haven't even had time to sit down and eat, let alone watch a debate. So, I know you saw some of it, Brian. Rico, did they air the GOP debates in Thailand? I'm wondering.
It was on at like 7 a.m. over there. I saw like the last hour of it.
You were still awake, I assume. You didn't wake up. You were just still up from a night of ladyboys.
I was in the Maldives at that point, so yeah, it was a blur. But I did see the last hour of it, and I didn't see a lot of Trump, but there was some Rand Paul, Chris Christie back and forth, and then there was some Ben Carson, who is a doctor, but he couldn't just categorically refute one of Donald Trump's points on vaccinations, which I found kind of amazing that he couldn't just say, no, you're wrong.
What was Trump's point on vaccinations?
He said, I believe that basically vaccinations are causing autism, and Carson just, even though there's studies just flat out saying that's wrong, Ben Carson wouldn't say, no, Donald Trump, you're wrong. He was just kind of walking around the issue and very uninspiring from my perspective.
That's bizarre, especially because he's a pediatric, or he was a pediatric neurosurgeon. It's like, shouldn't you know a thing or two about this?
Yeah. Say you're right or you're wrong, but not like, he's like, I'll say this. And then he basically said nothing. So.
Well, isn't that what every politician does?
He was like, yeah, Obama's a Muslim and shouldn't be running the country. I think that just, like, literally today.
He didn't say that.
This will be 4 days.
He said Obama's a Muslim. That didn't happen.
He said, I would not, I don't think a Muslim should be president. Because Rand Paul responded to it today. Today being 4 days before the podcast.
No one needs to know what day this is, all right? This is live. This is a live podcast.
Darwin, edit it out and post.
Whenever you're listening, it's live. Trust me.
Yeah. Did anybody else see that? Johnny, did you catch that?
Right. I did. And so Ben Carson said, well, I disagree with you, but I still think it's in our best interest to kind of spread them out, spread the vaccinations out. And I'm like, well, why is the government getting involved anyways? And why are you guys even talking about this?
That's a better question.
Right.
Why is this a question for a presidential candidate?
Like, come on, this is a personal matter. This has nothing to do with what your position is as president. I mean, I watched the damn thing, and it was just too goddamn long. It was 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
This one was like, 3 hours?
Yeah, 5 to 8.
God.
And it ran a little long, too.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, well, all I know is, to me, now, if you caught the last hour, it seemed like it was like, was the Carly Filiona or whatever.
Yeah, Carly
There's a lot of her on the end of it. And,
I like Filiona better than
really,
Fiorina.
it was like, it was Trump. It was a 3-hour watch Trump insult people. I mean, that's really what it was.
No, they're literally, the questions were designed, like you said, they're throwing him questions that, between him and to the other people on stage, they were literally designed to just have them attack each other specifically instead of issues.
Exactly. That was it. And then they asked, what I thought was the funniest thing was they were asking, like, Ronald Reagan's call sign was rawhide. What would your call sign be for the White House?
That was awful.
And then, so there were some stupid answers, but honestly,
what's the call sign mean?
Like Iran, the secret name? Secret, but yeah, like Operation Desert Storm.
Oh, okay. Like what the Secret Service calls you.
Rand Paul. I mean, come on, man. He said justice never sleeps. That was his response. It was like, come on, dude.
That's
really?
awful.
You can't even be funny with this? You can't even joke with this?
I missed that part of the debate.
What is he, Batman? Rand Paul is Batman.
What are you, Batman? You gonna do Bruce Wayne?
Justice never sleeps. Rand Paul 2016. That was my Rand Paul as Christian Bale as Batman impression. Sorry, guys.
But it was really bad, man. It was all just like, if you were a rainbow, what color would you be? I mean, that was the kind of questions they were asking on this thing.
Yeah, what woman you would put on the $10 bill? And
that was a question too. I must have missed
Bush
these.
couldn't answer an American woman. He put Margaret Thatcher, I think.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So basically, we learned about vaccines, what people want on the $10 bill, and what Carly Arena's face is worthy of the office.
Yeah, exactly. And Carly is right. It was Trump and Carly, but Rand did get in. He had, I think, his best debate. And I saw there was a couple of things that came out, like the Nation.
Don't give too much away. You got a column coming out this week, or it's already out.
That'll be already out by the time this airs.
Yeah, whatever.
This is all time travel talk. Marty, your kids, they're going to vote for Trump.
We're indirectly live, right?
Was that a good Doc Brown impression? Probably not.
Since I had no idea what you were doing, I'm going to say no.
So when he comes back to the future, tell me.
Marty, the candidates, they're all assholes. We got to go back.
I was going to do an assassination joke, but never mind. Keep going. Go, Johnny.
Guys, the thing is, man, I just see this thing as like the Republicans, it was like a 3-hour tabloid. That's really what it was. There was no content. It was just who's more popular. And this is really what they're trying to appeal to today. And this is the people today. This is what we're dealing with. This is the audience. People don't understand politics. They don't want to get involved. They want to know. It's like vote for American Idol. This is the same shit they're doing, man. Well, it's crazy.
That's the problem nowadays, that maybe this is always the way, but it's just more prominent because of TV and the internet and everything. But a presidential campaign now, or at least these primaries, they're like you said, it's a popularity contest. They're just a reality show. That's all they are. We have the vote in, the polls where you go vote in. I mean, most of the questions are fluff. It's all about how did the guy look? How did he fare against his opponent? It's not about what are his positions. What are their implications for humanity? That's the kind of things we should be talking about. Instead, it's just fluff city. But I mean, who do we have to blame? This debate got the highest ratings of any debate in history. Can you really blame CNN for doing what it takes to get ratings? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't like it. But
it is the free market, but it is kind of sad. I mean, and that's what the people want.
What do we do? What do we do as dogmatic libertarians? Do we support the free market? But I mean, how free market is CNN? How free market are these companies in reality?
Well, but I mean, if people are voluntarily watching it, I guess that would be kind of free.
Well, here's a question. This is an interesting one to pose to libertarians who are drinking. Would we rather have, let's say, the government run these elections processes, so they're setting up the debate so that you have something that's more structured or could be more focused on the issues rather than a ratings bonanza? Because right now it's CNN's moderators, they're designing the questions, they're setting it all up to get ratings. And even though we're all advocates, of course, of the free market and private companies, would it be better off for everybody if somebody as neutral did it, or the government did it, where they're organizing it for
I hate to break it to you, but the government does run it because they have the Commission on Presidential Debates, and they already run the debates. So.
Well, but you're looking at CNN going after, there's clearly a lot of leeway here. Maybe they say, set it up, but they're not even selecting who's in it, are they?
Well, they are. They set their standards for who's going to get in the debates based on, the polling numbers or whatever.
They fudged it a little bit for this one, so Carly to get in, right?
Oh, is that? I thought it was to get Rand in.
No, I think they wanted Carson.
Rand is in last place.
At least according to Trump, he was like, that's the only clip I saw is Trump's like, what's Rand Paul even doing over here? He's got 1%.
Right.
That's my terrible Trump impression. Remind me never do that again.
Well, I don't think we should have government sponsored debates. I mean, God damn, that's like watching the fucking hanging out in the DMV for 4 hours. But,
well, true, but at least you're getting it more straightforward. I guess the point I'm making is, you've got the commission that's overseeing it, but it's become a fiasco in that, it's become mainstream entertainment. Whereas, you might be able to manage it and have it be a little bit less of a circus if it was kind of like maybe the DMV wouldn't be a bad thing. It would weed out a lot of the people that don't give a shit anyway and just watching for shits and giggles or are going to buy into Trump.
At least you're only at the DMV to get your business taken care of, so maybe only the serious people that really want.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you're gonna, shit, we're sitting for 3 hours watching this thing. It was kind of like being at the DMV, but
government can fuck up a wet dream, man.
Well,
the government can fuck up a wet dream.
Yeah, they can.
But I don't know. I just think have alternate media. I mean, hell, have the Lines of Liberty do a debate.
We've got our invites out there. We're eagerly waiting on the responses. It's getting a little awkward when I check the mailbox every morning.
Right now, only George Pataki has said yes,
and that Jim Gilmore guy, he's in. Also, the Rent is Too Damn High guy, he's in, and John McAfee. That's the Lines of Liberty.
The Rent is Too Damn. Who is that guy? It's a cool song.
He invented
he was the best. He had a party. I think it was in New York, right? He was based, and it was literally based. Rico, do you know? Because I'm trying to remember.
What are we talking about? Rent is Too Damn High.
Yeah, Rent is Too Damn High.
That was his position.
That was his platform.
The rent is too damn high. So
he just kept. Yeah, I just remember that. The rent is too damn high. That was it.
The rent is too damn high. As you guys know, in LA here, at least Brian knows, the rent is too damn high. Fact. Mine's not.
Where Johnny lives, the rents are going to go higher because they have $15 minimum wage now.
It's coming right behind for us too. So
yeah, I know.
Jesus,
we're all in the same boat.
But see, here's the thing: it's like it's a chain reaction. I mean, up here in Seattle, that's what they're trying to do, and now they're trying to push it out to everywhere else, out in Tacoma and Bellingham and Olympia. I mean, it's crazy.
Where our good friend Gavin Keefe is running for office.
Yeah, Yakka Compton. Yeah,
is that what it's called? Is that what you guys call it?
I call it that. And I call everything Compton at the end. You got Spoke Compton, you got Yakka Compton, you got it all Compton here in Washington, man. That's what it's all about. But yeah, it's like an ugly chain reaction. And the thing is, we actually have a socialist in city council here. And I mean, a lot of this socialist movement is starting to spread from Seattle. I swear, Seattle and New York.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like in LA, but I mean, here it's fucking nuts, man. Everyone wants free shit, and this is what it's been going on. And I don't think any candidate can win by saying, we're not going to give you free shit. Because that's how people don't think beyond step one.
Is that why Bernie is doing so well? Because that's all he's doing is promising free shit?
Yeah.
Free shit. I swear he's going to get I think it's going to be Trump and Sanders, honestly. And I'm fucked.
No.
That would be crazy. That would be surreal and amazing and terrible, but entertaining as all hell.
I don't know. I think we're fucked either way. Rico, I think you had something to say about that. You don't think so?
I don't think Trump's going to make it. I think once his numbers are going down, he'll get out because his ego won't allow it. I still don't see him having any support from any kind of senators, congressmen, any of the establishment, and I think that's usually the biggest indicator of success is what kind of endorsements you're going to get. And without that, I don't see him winning the nomination.
Do you think in some way Trump, forget his positions for a minute, that Trump and Sanders to some extent, although, I mean, he's been in politics for 40 years, so I hate when people are saying, yeah, we need a real outsider like Bernie Sanders. I'm like, he's like kind of been a politician for 40 years. I wouldn't quite call him. I mean, he isn't independent in theory, in label, but he's been caucusing with Democrats. He's running for president as a Democrat. He's a Democrat. I mean, he is part of the establishment. Even if he's got crazy hair, it doesn't make him, like, not part of the establishment.
Speaking of Doc Brown.
Speaking of Doc Brown. Now that is, I can't take credit for this. I already saw a t-shirt of Bernie as Doc Brown.
Oh, really? Damn.
I'd like to pretend I came up with this idea, but I didn't. So
can we make Marco Rubio into what's his face from Back to the Future?
We can make any memes we want.
Can he play Michael J. Fox to?
And by that I mean you can make any memes I want because you're our official meme generator.
I think I might have to. He looks so young.
Now, speaking of memes, this is actually I was overhearing a conversation at work today at one of my jobs. I just overheard it. Let's leave it at that. And but basically, some people were talking about Bernie Sanders and socialism came up and how everyone's like, oh, he's a socialist. And someone said something to the effect of, well, hey, I saw this, they called it an image. I'm going to call it a meme. A photo, they called it. Who's like banging pots around?
Somebody making mac and cheese?
I was pouring some more.
I knew it was Rico.
Hot cider.
Out of what?
Where's the hot cider?
Out of your cauldron?
Are you casting? Is your computer on the stove? Where the fuck are you?
Have you never drank hot cider before? You mix the rum and the cider in a little pot. You put it on low. And you want more, you pour it into your glass.
What? Where you?
Wow,
well, you don't need to slam it down on the stove when you're done pouring it.
I didn't think it was that loud.
We should make like tutorials on how to make certain drinks, like Rico.
Hot cider from a cult.
Liberty style.
Liberty style.
What the hell were we talking about now? I totally lost track.
Oh, yeah, I know what I was talking about. Memes. So someone said, oh, yeah, well, socialism. I mean, I saw this chart that showed how the socialist countries are all doing great. So I don't know why people are in such up in arms about socialism this, socialism that. And I just first of all, forget the content. The fact that people are basing their entire political belief system, when it comes to Bernie Sanders or whatever, or about socialism on a chart that they just saw, not on research or a deep thought process, but a chart they saw on Facebook. That's just frightening, but it kind of sums up. It ties back into how, our whole political system is based on reality shows and memes. That's it. That's what it is.
What countries were in this meme?
Well, they probably always point to Scandinavia, Sweden, France. They're doing so well. I mean, define well.
I've written several articles on how badly Sweden's doing. Actually, there's revolts in the streets from the immigrant population, and people are not getting. There's no work. Their system's going bankrupt. The healthcare you have to wait for. It's all horrible. I don't know where the good memes are coming from because they're based on nothing.
How's Greece doing these days? Are they still rioting for the last 2 years?
No, but they'll what they say is they'll blame Greece on capitalism and dirty bankers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, and then if you really want socialism, look at Venezuela. Look at Cuba. Yeah. These are places where people literally cannot even get toothpaste because it's too expensive.
Yep. They keep devaluing their own currency. It's guess what? Now the currency is completely devalued again, and we're also taking control of all the private oil companies.
In Venezuela, the stores literally ran out of toilet paper. And that's the real thing because they eliminated the market for these things, and they just they try to set price controls and do all this kind of command economy socialist planning. And I saw elements of this in Argentina when I was there because they were devaluing the currencies, and you could see stores that were just they were talking about setting price controls and all this stuff that actually happened while I was there. They made an announcement they were setting price controls on certain necessary items. Well, what happened? Suddenly those necessary items aren't that available anymore. Weird how that works out. And when people say socialism works, go ahead.
Well, the thing is, it's all bumper stickers. This is how people respond to things is with bumper stickers. And us as libertarians, we have these long, 2-page articles we want to show people, but nobody has the attention span to listen to that, man, or read it for that matter. This is kind of what we're kind of dealing with, man. Exactly what you're saying. We have memes. This is what people make their political decisions on is memes, not well-researched things or things along those lines. But we're in a bumper sticker world and a meme world, and the response or the response to those answers aren't necessarily we could fit it on a bumper sticker and rebuttal. So, this is what baffles me, man. We're in this kind of society. Fuck, I have another drink. I gotta have another.
We are living in a bumper sticker world.
No, you're exactly right, though, John. It's there was something, I posted on Facebook, they had an article about Bernie Sanders' healthcare plan costing $18 trillion, and then all these liberals were responding, or progressives were responding, saying, no, I read this other article that said that was crazy talk, and blah, blah, blah. And of course, my rebuttal was I had to take the time to write it because it's, a detailed breakdown of why everything's going to cost more and what's causing it and crony capitalism being involved and all these different factors. And it's by the time I'm done writing it, I've written a 400-word essay to respond to a Facebook comment, and I'm like, no one's going to read this.
And then someone responds to you with a meme. And you're like, son of a bitch!
Yeah, a smiley face, like a chihuahua dancing with a taco from the new Facebook Messenger. I think that's what the response was.
And I've gotten to the point. Go ahead, Rico. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I was going to say, the whole kind of lack of attention span is we're talking about the debates, and people are basing their opinion on these debates where there's so little substance in the first place, and then after the debate is over, they'll immediately say who they think won, and they're basing it on little quips someone made, or like they said, Jeb Bush had a great comeback when he said, "My brother kept us safe."
Oh,
and
God,
crowd
I know,
cheered. Didn't 9/11 occur during George Bush's presidency?
Right.
Also, how many countries did he bomb, and how many future terrorists that hate the United States did he create by bombing Iraq, Afghanistan?
Yeah. Which on that point,
et cetera.
One of Rand Paul's greatest things during the debate, like this is why there were a couple articles, as I mentioned earlier, that were very complimentary, that made sense. They're saying he's the only adult on stage, that he had nice coherent arguments. And one of them was he actually went into the fact that blowback exists, and he went into how, we've been destabilizing the Middle East for years and years and years.
Did he almost try to reach for his Ron Paul moment?
He really did. I mean, I'll give him a lot of credit, and it's in the column that
but who is
published Tuesday of the week that this will be coming out. But he really went into it and talking about that exact thing, how we've been interviewing in the Middle East forever, and how that's causing all these nations to come back and say, what the hell? It's like he's basically like
they're saying more than what the hell. They're saying, Allah fucking Akbar, I'm going to blow your ass up.
Right, exactly.
Or what the hell.
Yeah, but meanwhile, when you read these post-debate wrap-ups, the losers, it's like, well, Rand Paul was a loser because his foreign policy views didn't coincide with everybody else on stage. It's like, isn't that a fucking good thing? Should we have different voices out there?
I like how Johnny's bringing the F-bombs out and everyone's cursing more
I'm
now.
dropping them, man. The old smuggler's running through my veins now.
Well, here's the thing, though. John Kasich and Rand Paul, out of that entire Republican debate.
I don't hate Kasich.
Is he in the big boy debate this time?
He was in there, yeah.
He got a promotion.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't get much speaking time, but I do like Kasich.
He was in the big one last time.
Was he? All right. I think I get him confused with Pataki. Yeah. That's my problem. They're basically the same guy to me.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, go, Johnny.
He showed some restraint. I mean, international wars and stuff like that. His answers showed restraint. So did Rand Paul's.
Yeah.
And that's what I was like, wow, okay, that's cool. And the other guys are just warmongers, man. I mean, Ted Cruz, I don't know about you guys, man, but the guy fucking annoys the piss out of me. When he looks at the camera with his speeches, he looks like a fucking wax mannequin. You people need to start looking at God and blah, blah. I'm like, fuck, I gotta get another drink. But I like Ben Carson just because he's honest. He doesn't know shit about economics, but he's honest. And I think that's my opinion on that.
I find him, I don't really jive with a lot of Ben Carson's viewpoints necessarily, but I find him hard to hate.
Can you name a Ben Carson viewpoint?
He's kind of adorable. I'm trying to think.
He's adorable. He was played by Cuba Gooding Jr. in a movie about his life.
He's adorable because it's like you hear him, he's speaking and he's kind of stuttering and he seems unsure. You just want to take him home and give him a bath, maybe put a couple towels down in the corner and let him curl up over there.
We're now comparing Ben Carson
so shy. It's like he just comes across as so unsure of himself.
You can't not like the guy. I mean,
no, exactly. Even though he's exactly. As a person, he seems like a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah, nice person.
That might be the comment of the year. You just want to take Ben Carson home and give him a bath.
Give him a bath.
See, this is why we do these shows, guys, because comments like that don't come out from just sitting around sober. They just don't.
Never. No, but I think John Kasich, he showed restraint on foreign wars and stuff like that, and I thought it was admirable because he had a lot of chicken hawks up there with him, and that's tough. That's tough. I mean, especially like Rand Paul, he's kind of by himself up there, and I'm not necessarily endorsing Rand Paul, but he's the best out of the GOP. We can all probably agree on that.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, we've had this debate before because some people were like, I'm not going to vote for Rand Paul, and I'm like, why not? Look, of all the people out there, we'd be so lucky if he actually got a nomination because he has more views that are moving things forward from where we stand than anybody else by far.
Exactly.
So how can you not support it? Yeah, it's like,
absolutely.
Well,
I mean,
that's the guy to your right.
I know. Mark was on that wagon for. I think you're back on the vote. I would vote for Rand wagon, though, right?
I mean,
really?
I'm most impressed that Rico remember what direction we are next to each other.
I know where you sit, and I know where fine.
I mean, I don't know because what's the scenario? Is there a scenario where I'm gonna vote for Rand Paul?
He's a president versus Sanders or Hillary. There's a scenario.
Yeah, I'd probably vote for Rand Paul in that case.
Well, there you go.
I'm not abjectly opposed to voting for him, but I'm not like, I think the odds of me having the opportunity to vote for him are so low. I'm not going to go about voting a Republican primary.
I'd say they're 3.5% out of 100 right now.
I will probably not go vote for him in a Republican primary. Let's put it that way. And I feel that will be my only opportunity to vote for him, so I'll probably not vote for him.
See, I still would.
You're not going to go vote in the primary.
Do you think he's actually going to make it far enough where it's going to matter?
I don't think he's going to drop out, yes.
Well, he just won the straw poll in Michigan at the Mackinac Island straw poll, which is a well-regarded poll. It's not like, some of the ones that Ron
he's actually has a very well organized campaign on the ground, and I think that even if he realizes it's not in his cards for this year, he's going to remain in and try to build support for 2020. So I don't think he's going to drop out.
Does he has money?
I don't know. Brian, have you sent him any money?
No.
So why not?
Well, because
he sent Ron Paul money. We both did. We had a beer pong fundraiser for the man. So what's the difference? Why are we not as enthusiastic?
Well, because you know why? Because Rand's so hot and cold on libertarian issues. That's why. Ron Paul is so incredibly principled. Look, we don't need to go into how great Ron. We all know Ron Paul's great. He's the best. But Rand's a swing and a miss on a lot of issues, and he kind of goes back and forth. Like Israel still pisses me off. Like I'm happy now in that last debate he didn't say stand with Israel, bomb Iran. He kind of come back from that and said it's anti-war. But Israel's a point that pisses me off. Obviously, I don't jive with all of his views on certain things like abortion. Although I do think that late-term abortion should be outlawed. But there's certain things that he and I don't see eye to eye on. But overall, yeah, he's still great. Now, am I going to give him money for the campaign? I'm not that impassioned.
Yeah, because that's a problem. And I think that's why he's not doing as well, because he's not inflaming the base. Now, you can say you don't need that libertarian base to, win a GOP primary or to do well in polls, because that's not who they're polling, and that might be true. But you got to get money from somewhere, fella. And I maxed out for Ron Paul twice, and I have not sent a dime to Rand Paul.
He's going to get money from the marijuana people. That was another thing in the debate he went in on.
I wanted to bring that up because you guys, two of you didn't see the debate, I guess.
Rico's in Thailand and watched the debate, and I haven't even watched it. I have been very busy, though.
But him and Christie went back and forth a little bit on medical marijuana, and Rand Paul...
I did see that one clip.
He basically put his position on the 10th Amendment states' rights, which, I don't know, kind of seemed like a little bit of a cop-out in that he didn't go along the personal freedom route, which I would have rather hear him go that way instead of, it's the states' rights.
Yeah, Ron Paul would have done that differently. He would have said it's an individual's right to put whatever they want in their body, whereas Rand is kind of sort of saying that, but also trying to kind of toe that constitutional...
To appease the Republicans.
Right, because they love that word constitution and states' rights, so he wanted to get those phrases in there.
Right. Well, what he did do was just kind of...
Candy for the neocons.
Like I said, walking that line is he did go, well, you know what, it's a crime, which I don't agree with, that it should be a crime, but it's a crime that only affects the person that's using it, which was what he said. So
did he use air quotes or no?
I don't think he used air quotes.
Okay. All right. If he used air quotes, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah. So he said it's a crime that only affects the person that's using it. And so, saying it's ridiculous that all these people are going to jail. He doubled down on the fact that, minorities are disproportionately affected in justice reform. And he had a great line where basically he told Jeb Bush that he got off because he was a white kid, which is true and funny. So he's towing that line, but I mean, overall, he wants a big push to decriminalize medical marijuana completely. Should be all marijuana, but at least medical marijuana. And he went in saying how crazy it was that parents can't give a kid with seizures cannabis oil when it's, helping her, and they some family went to jail for it, which is just crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I have to bring something else up about the debates about Ben Carson. We do have a little angel investor, actually a couple of them. One of them's on with us right now. Yeah. But one of our angel investors made a little request that we discuss a couple issues on the show. And hey, if you give me money, I will discuss anything you want. That's pretty much how this works. So, by the way, send me money if you want me to talk about stuff on the show. That's also an...
And meanwhile, we'll get into the Thai hookers later because their coalition over there gave us about $300 to bring it up, Rico. So we're going to get into that. Sure.
I cast out your business cards.
Thank you.
But I wanted to bring up Ben Carson. Of course, our good friend Howie Snowden is passionate about this issue. He's passionate about his hatred for Ben Carson. And this is because... This is solely because Ben Carson is against evolution and does not believe in it.
He is a creationist. And
I was doing a little research here. He actually had a debate in 2006 with Richard Dawkins and several other people. And in that debate, he said, I quote, "I don't believe in evolution. I simply don't have enough faith to believe that something as complex as our ability to rationalize, think, and plan and have a moral sense of what's right and wrong just appeared." And that's actually not what evolution is. That's actually what believing in creationism is. Exactly. So I'm really confused by that quote because actually that's what creationists say, that it disappeared by God. So, so I just wanted to get that out there. So does that change anyone's views on if Ben Carson is a...
Change. Wow. Boom. Well,
Johnny's
that's crazy
out.
talk.
Off the
that's crazy talk. There is evolution. All right, that's crazy talk. I mean, I think I'm in good company to say that's crazy talk.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there's some legitimate point of view there. I mean, thinking that we just happened, and there's some almighty being. God, we're drinking and talking about God. If we were religious, that's a sin.
If this was a first date, it would be over. You don't talk religion or politics.
or it would be the best first date ever. One or the other.
Right. Everybody's banging everybody.
But no, I mean, seriously, you have to question people who think like that. You really do. Like, come on now, dude. Really? Come on.
And I'm not saying we've got it all figured out.
It's almost as bad as Mike Huckabee.
Oh,
I mean,
it's as bad. It's just, it was like 8 years ago, so no one talks about it. That's basically the difference. He's just not saying it on the debate stage.
No, he's been out there saying some crazy shit.
Or maybe he has. I don't know.
Yeah,
like
he's still been doubling down on some like abortion stuff, and maybe not these debates, but a lot of crazy.
Are you talking about Huckabee?
Yeah, Huckabee.
Yeah.
What was that comment where? Did you see that incredibly awkward joke he made about being transgendered? That was like a couple months ago.
Oh, like he wishes he was transgendered so he could go in the girls' room or something.
It was such a bad joke.
A real pastor type thing to say.
By the way, here's a question for you guys. If Trump pulled down his pants and whipped it out and he had a vagina, would he be the ultimate candidate now?
Wow.
I think none of us got that joke, Brian.
I'm just saying because then you've got a female that's
Jenner,
also Donald Trump.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You're hitting all the pop culture factors here.
Well, he'd have to be Hispanic
he'd be
too.
Donald Trump, a transgender. 80% of the population of the United States would have to support him.
That was about as good as Mike.
I stand by it.
That is Brian's joke.
I stand by
Mike. If you can't make us laugh right now, you got to rethink some things because we're very open. We've been chugging hops and
The
whiskeys.
thesis
and
behind the
vodkas.
joke was fine and sound. Maybe I just didn't execute
When
it.
you have to explain a thesis of a joke, there's a problem.
Caitlyn Jenner's very popular, transgender. Donald Trump's very popular, transgender. You mesh the two of them, you've got a super candidate.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll return to that one probably never.
Yeah, I don't want to go there. I'm drunk and I might say something bad.
There is something else I'm supposed to bring up thanks to our angel investor, or one of them. Rico, you can choose next show's topics. But he also wanted to bring up, this is something that's been, I don't know, I don't know if it's in the news per se, but it's definitely in the news for fans of Ultimate Fighting, fans of fighting sports in general, is this Nick Diaz guy who recently received a 5-year ban from the state of Nevada for testing positive, and I believe it is his like third or fourth offense, but still, for marijuana, which as far as I'm concerned is not a performance-enhancing drug in any way, shape, or form, from what I've read in magazines.
Enhancer.
All right, do you get hungry halfway through the fight?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't need to go into...
You don't want to fight. You're like, hey, man, let's hug.
We don't need to go into the specifics of it, but I mean, what do you guys, because I mean, yeah, we can say, okay, these are private organizations. Well, the Nevada board is not a private organization. It's a part of the state of Nevada. It's run by the Nevada government. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is, UFC can have whatever policies they want, but UFC is not the ones that banned this guy. But I mean, Ronda Rousey had a great quote about this. She basically said, I mean, the reason that these tests for marijuana happen, they're not for any logical reasons. They're all a byproduct of the war on drugs. The political sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, when you say things that are stupid and wrong and it's propaganda.
The Libertarians and Living Room Drink Liquor podcast.
Yeah, that's it. When you say things that are wrong and stupid. The political...
You got a tagline right there.
Man. Politicalization of these issues. That's not even the word I'm looking for, though. Demonization. Demonization. Thank you.
That was the word that took you so long to
Thanks for sitting through that for 3 minutes, everybody. The demonization of marijuana, drug use, all of these things, by government, by the war on drugs, that trickles down into so many areas where, I mean, this guy essentially has his livelihood deprived of him. If you're 32 years old, you can't fight for 5 years, now you're in your late 30s, your career's over.
Yeah, good. It's insane. Well, and also think about this. You talk about demonization. How ridiculous is it, like, you've got government agencies that have funding given to them to actually promote and create campaigns to talk about anti-drug use, going after, like, marijuana. Like, there's the ad council or whatever it is, and all these other nonprofits that are, like, government funded. They get government money to create propaganda against this arbitrarily outlawed substance that then, as you said, trickles down and creates situations like this.
Yeah, I mean, when we see it not just with Nick Diaz, but with, where companies all over the place drug test and a lot. Now, I'm not saying they should never do that. Some areas it might make a lot of sense. Like if you have people using heavy manufacturing equipment, you might not want that person to be someone who is coming in high. I mean, I'm not saying that companies should never test their employees for anything, but I think the vast majority of this stuff is based on the laws in place already and the bad ideas behind the war on drugs, not necessarily on a valid belief that a company might have to drug test someone.
Mark, I think you're right, but I think the major reason is I think that companies should be able to do whatever the hell they want. If they want, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of companies who just don't like stoners.
I agree with you completely.
And that's cool, in my opinion. I mean, like, if you don't like people who smoke pot, by all means, I think they should have the right to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
However, I don't think it's, necessarily a good thing, but I mean, especially if you're in a dangerous job, I mean, let's just say you're a pilot or something. I don't think anyone would be cool with having a pilot who's smoking pot.
You were a pilot yourself, or is that not right, Johnny?
I was, but I never.
And how many times did you fly high? Okay, damn it. All right, you already answered.
Never. But I flew a couple times pretty hungover, but never high, never. But I really think it's important that the individual or the company or that business or that entity sets their own policies, and they can discriminate as much as they want. I think it's awesome. I think that every business should discriminate. If they don't like people, fuck them. I wouldn't hire them. If I don't like something, fuck it. No. But there's always another guy across the street who's willing to hire you. So I think, again, you were saying about the fighting competition.
Right. And in that case, it's not a private company that banned him, though. The UFC is who he fights for. They didn't ban him,
right.
Though. It's the Nevada State Athletic Board.
I'm sure there's some kind of working arrangement between the UFC and the Nevada.
Well, yeah, they have to have one in order to allow fights there. So, yeah, I mean, it's a coercive working relationship. It's not like they want that relationship. I'm sure UFC would love to just come anywhere and not deal with state boards and all this shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I think sure
you backed down quick. That was surprising.
I don't know. I really, the only reason I ever hear about anything about UFC is Howie's nonstop emails about it. So
same here. That's why we're talking about it. He's our angel investor.
Rico,
I don't pay much attention to it.
Rico, as a similar angel investor, you can email some ridiculous things too that we can talk about in the next show.
All right, we're not quite winding the show up yet, but Brian does have to leave pretty soon, so we're gonna start the final thoughts. We always do a little final thoughts section, and we're gonna start it right now with Brian's final thoughts. Then he's gonna leave, and we're gonna talk some shit about him. So
please, by all means, my final thoughts are this: number one, Old Smuggler's a hell of a scotch. Number two, I honestly...
It's so good that it makes you come up with brilliant jokes about Donald Trump having a vagina. But go, I digress.
Maybe it's a fact. You don't know. You don't know what's under those pants. Anyway, to finish up my final thought, I honestly cannot wait for the GOP field to narrow it down. I have faith that Rand Paul is going to get through into the next round of cuts. I think this is going to boost him up from his last appearance. And he's going to make it to the next round of 5 or 6 people on stage. Hopefully get some more time to speak. And the Donald, he's just going to give himself a deeper and deeper hole to climb out of as he's exposed. So that's my final take. And I apologize, I have to head out earlier, guys. But
don't apologize. I've been looking forward to this part the whole time.
Probably a relief.
Yeah.
Go write some better jokes.
All right.
I don't write any jokes for this show. It's all off the cuff,
and
baby.
That's the problem.
All right. Adios.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, Brian, man, rock and roll.
Now, let's see. What, Johnny? Have you been enjoying your first time here on Libertarians Living Room drinking liquor?
I'm having a good time, man. I'm just drinking liquor.
Are you learning a lot?
I'm hanging out in my living room. Literally.
Have you learned anything about, let's say, Ben Carson? Or have you flipped your support for Ben Carson?
No, I have never supported Ben Carson, but
your minor like for him.
Yeah, that kind of just squashed my minor like for him. Yeah.
Do you want to take him home and bathe him? That's my real question.
Yes, I do. He's still an honest guy. I still hold that very near.
He does seem like he was just kind of like plucked out of like sitting in the living room and has now just like found himself on a debate stage.
I think he's cool. I think he's a good person. I mean, but that doesn't mean you can run the country. So no, absolutely no. I'm going to go with Rand Paul. I think Rand Paul's out of the GOP. I think Rand Paul's pretty badass, and I really like what Rand Paul has to say. I'm really afraid of Donald Trump. Very afraid of Donald Trump. I'm afraid of Jeb Bush. Thank God Scott Walker's out of the race right now. And Marco Rubio, I'm afraid of him too. I mean, all these people I'm afraid of. And I'm really afraid of Chris Christie. So, I mean, the only thing I got I'm behind Rand Paul in regarding the GOP, and he seems to be the only one wanting to get rid of more and more government, which is cool. Cool.
I don't think there's any question. I think, from a libertarian perspective, there are some guys out there like Robert Wenzel who still say that, Rand is not even comparatively better than the other guys, and which I just think is ridiculous. I think if you actually look at the things he says, he is comparatively better. He's not a pure libertarian. If you had him up on stage at the Libertarian Party convention, he might not look that great to us, but when he's up on stage with these guys, he does look great, because he is a lot more reasonable than these guys, and he does have a lot better ideas than these guys. But I want to play a little reverse game for 1 second. Instead of talking about who we think is the best guy out of the GOP, why don't we try to pick out who is the absolute, if you knew the GOP nominee was going to be president, who would be the absolute number one guy if you could just pluck one out of there, because that would just be the worst scenario you can possibly imagine. Who would that guy be? Who's the guy you just eliminate? And this, we can include the guys from the kitty debate. Listen, Santorum's.
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham. All right, that's Rico's pick. And what's your reasoning behind this? You don't want a President Lindsey?
Yeah, I just watched Terminator on the third one, or whatever, the new one on the plane.
I cannot wait to hear how you tie the new Terminator into this answer.
Basically, it's like looking at a nonstop war zone, because all the nukes are all around the world. And that's just kind of what I imagine day 5 of the Lindsey Graham presidency as. The whole world's been nuked, but he got ISIS, so all's well.
He did get ISIS. Do you picture Lindsey Graham ushering in the age of the Terminators?
Yeah, he may. I don't know, but all I know is he's so adamant about just bombing and going to war with everyone. It's amazing to me.
He does seem to be a fan. I'll give him credit. I'm pretty sure I heard him in a debate say, I want to go fight ISIS, himself. So
I would support that.
I support that. I think our last show, Robin Kerner said he would start a fund to donate to send him there. So maybe we should actually start that fund.
A Kickstarter. I like it.
All right, Lindsey Graham, Johnny. If you could pick one guy, you cannot. The worst guy out of this crew, who would it be?
Out of the GOP.
Out of the most nightmare scenario you can imagine.
Okay, Chris Christie.
Yeah, man. What's your reasoning? That's a good one too.
Big government. He's a big government guy. He wants bigger government.
Is that a fat joke?
And that's my no. But he can't trim the fat. He's all for bigger government. He can't conceive. He obviously hates libertarians. He hates them.
He can't conceive. Where did you hear that? Did you get into his medical records?
Yes. Yes. I can't conceive. I'm sorry. I've been drinking too much. Chris Christie, just completely big government. I don't like him at all, period, man. No, none at all. That's the scariest, worst case scenario from my point of view, out of the candidates we have.
He is just an awful human being. I can't believe he's still in the race. Is he getting any support from anyone?
I think he's pulling pretty low out of that pack, I think.
It's pretty bad.
And the one clip of the debate I saw where it was the same one where Rand Paul was defending states' rights to legalize marijuana, where they set it up with the quote from Christie saying, when I'm president, January 2017, all these states that legalize marijuana, it's over, because we're going to end it. We're going to come in and crack down. And they cut to him, to a shot of Christie, and he's just nodding and smiling, just thrilled at the idea of just cracking down on legal marijuana all over. And I was just like, oh, this guy, no.
What the fuck is wrong with him? No. What is that going to accomplish?
There's no way he's never smoked weed, by the way. There's just no way.
Rico, I'm glad you're using the F-bomb, man. By the way,
we're using F-bombs on the show.
Fuck it. Sounds good.
Exactly.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. I tend to agree with, man, I hate just not being my own guy. I kind of think I would pick Christie. Out of those guys, Lindsey, I see the similar scenario, but just to be different, I want to toss another guy out there, and I don't want anyone to forget about our good friend Rick Santorum, because he's still hanging around, guys, and he's pretty scary too. Mm-hmm. He's against all the marijuana. He's against he's all for all the wars. He's pretty much got all these same qualities that we fear. So let's not sleep on him.
I'm pretty sure I saw a poll within the last week or two that had him at 0%.
Sorry, That was me choking on my beer at the idea that someone could have 0%.
I'm pretty sure he accomplished it.
Not even like a 0.001 or
I saw 0%, so I'm sure he must have gotten someone to say, like maybe they forgot to ask his immediate family, but
they asked them to.
I don't know.
So these guys are all bad. The good thing is these three guys that we mentioned, at least the public is not so wacko tobacco that these are the guys we got to worry about winning. Not that I think Jeb is any better or Carson is any better. And we just saw Scott Walker drop out, so he's out of there. I don't think any of these guys are necessarily better, but they're not quite as scary as the three guys we just talked about. And these three guys are all doing not well. So that's a good thing. I think.
But the thing is, I think we should, I don't know. There's not going to be a libertarian debate. But I'd like to see
there is, but it's not going to be on. It's not going to be on CNN.
It's going to be on CNN or Fox.
It's going to be like right here in my living room.
Yeah. We should have it at Lines of Liberty or whatever.
Hey, I will host the libertarian candidates on this show anytime. Toss that out there right now.
But I mean, these guys are the cat's meow. I mean, these guys are the guys who understand liberty, and a lot of them. I mean, right now we got Austin Peterson. I don't know how you guys feel about him, who just threw his hat in the race.
He's been a guest on my show. I'm going to have him back on to talk about his entry into the libertarian race as well. He's been on your show as well, right, Johnny?
Yeah. He's a cool guy.
He's a guy. I appreciate what he is because he's kind of like a dick on purpose because he likes to piss people off. And I have friends like that, like the guy that was just sitting next to me. So I know what it's all about.
Yeah, but it's all a game to him, and he knows it. And he's all about media, and he works it. I mean, he pisses off anarchists unintentionally. I mean, if you can't see through that, come on. But like Austin Peterson's a cool guy. He's smart. Steve Kerbell, I really like his point of view.
I love Steve Kerbell, man. He was a great guest on my show as well as yours.
Yeah, and he's a cool guy, and he's like a real down-to-earth guy. But again, a lot of these guys don't have the media behind them. And, one who does right now, if Gary Johnson runs, Gary Johnson has the ultimate support. If he would put his hat in, he would probably get, at least 1 or 2% of the vote. But I think Austin Peterson has the right approach in regarding his media. And he's savvy on media. He's been on Fox News. He's getting in the major news medias and all that other bullshit. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. And I think that's why, if he does run as a libertarian, he might actually get the nomination. I'm just saying.
Are you talking about Austin Peterson or Gary Johnson?
Yes, Austin.
He did announce he filed the paperwork. I mean, Nicholas Sawar confirmed he's filed the paperwork. He's running. So we'll see. I mean, I think if anybody's savvy enough internet-wise and like media-wise, Austin Peterson, purely looking at that, might be a guy who can actually make waves because he's been on Fox News. He's been on these channels. Has these connections. Exactly. So you might have a point there.
Yeah, I just think that he has the ability to get his foot in the door with people that, he knows enough people where, like, he knows Judge Andrew Napolitano. Fuck, he produced the show, Freedom Watch, Austin has connections, and that's for Libertarian Party. That's cool. That's good to have in your back pocket.
And I'll tell you what, say what you will about Austin Peterson. A lot of people disagree with his perspective. I disagree on portions of his perspective. I actually do think he has things to offer as well. But I would love to see him on a debate stage with, say, I don't know, Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton, to pick the two most vanilla people I can possibly think of that were, I guess, planned to win this thing. I mean, who knows how it's really going to all go down, but yeah, I mean, I just hope we can get a third party on a stage with these guys. That's the real problem, is that no matter who wins these two primaries that we're talking about this whole time, the ideas presented on the final debate stage are not going to be very different from each other. They're not going to be very different from what we've gotten in the past, and they're not going to include anything that's really related about the ideas of individual liberty, the things we actually care about.
When was the last time there was a third party at a debate? Was it Ross Perot? Has there been someone?
Yeah, it was.
Then?
It was Ross
What was that,
Perot.
25 years ago?
Ross Perot, and even that was only because they had to decide to allow him in the debate, and the theory is that the Bush campaign wanted him in the debate because or was it the Bush campaign or the Clinton campaign? I think it makes more sense if it was the Clinton campaign. I don't know. One of the campaigns allowed him in the debate because they basically thought it would help them, that he would take away from the other side, basically. So even the one time there was someone allowed in, it was for political reasons, not because we decided to be open and honest. I mean, The Libertarians weren't in there that year. The Green Party wasn't in there that year. So, I mean, I want to see all these guys on stage. If you can fit 11 GOP candidates on stage, why can't we have 5 candidates in the final presidential debate? You know, why can't we have 3?
Why not?
4. I mean, if you're on a ballot in 50 states, which the Libertarian Party will be, I think the Green Party will be, if you're on a ballot and you're eligible to be president, you should be in those debates. And it's a crime that it's not allowed. And I'm not using air quotes. It is literally a crime because the government sets up the commission on presidential debates and they control who gets in it. And to me, it's criminal to let out certain parties of that process. When you're the government, you're the coercive government controlling that process.
I agree.
Boom.
I agree.
That's my closing statement. Rico, you got one?
Well, I don't really have a closing statement, so.
Well, just make some shit up. That's what we're all
doing. All right,
doing.
well, speaking of being in Thailand, what I found amazing is.
Finally, the juicy story.
Well, this isn't really, I'll save those for the next time I'm out in California. But
fair enough.
The people over there drive like absolute fucking maniacs.
True.
They're going, I don't think there is a speed limit, one, but if there was, they'd be double it. They're driving on the shoulders. One thing I didn't see any accidents, and there was no police timing people, which was kind of a refreshing break from being in the United States, where just today I had to drive half an hour for work, and there was no traffic on the highway. So there was at least 5 or 6 police officers that had pulled people over writing speeding tickets. Did not do anything, to help traffic or make anyone more safe. Just towns lining their pockets. So it's unnecessary and it irritates me, and it doesn't need to be true. So that's the only thing I could think of.
Let's be more like Thailand.
Exactly. In every way.
In every way, including a political coup every 4 years.
Yes. It's fine.
It's all right. Hey, there was literally a coup in the streets when I was there, and I was fine. I'm fine. So there you go. Johnny, as our special guest, I want to give you the
yes,
final word. So what's on your mind? How'd you enjoy your time here?
I had a good time, man. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed drinking with you guys. It's been fun. I just want to say, I think that we, the American people should look more into what the actual issues are versus the entertainment value of the candidates. I think that we should look at what these presidential candidates can do for us, but what liberties they can provide to the people, not versus what free shit people can get. And I think that's the main point. I've been trying to pump this into people's heads forever on my show, is that people don't need free shit. We need to keep the shit that we do have. And by paying higher taxes and things along those lines.
And be allowed to acquire more shit without being trampled upon.
Exactly. And get away from crony capitalism. We need to start having a free market, and we need to start embracing these libertarian ideals, and we need to make them popular. I don't think we're doing a good job. I mean, we are, but we have a select few of people who listen to us, and we need to fucking get the mainstream, excuse me, I burped, mainstream media involved in this. And it will never happen because they're not bought and paid for by the government.
I'm only going to disagree with one thing you said, Johnny. We don't need to get the mainstream media involved in this. We need to
make our own media.
We need to become the mainstream media, and that's what we're doing because, yeah, sure, we both have our own shows. We have a decent audience listening to them. Yes, those audiences don't come close to the audience that cable news gets, but this is changing, and it's changing rapidly, and media is becoming more segmented, more niched, more where people are just looking for what is right and looking for what is, the best thing for them instead of just turning on the TV and glazing out. And it's going to take some time for it to really, my parents still just turn on the TV when they get home all night, so it's not like of course they do listen to the show too. Yeah, hi Dad. But in general, it's a generational thing. I mean, we're going to see this change over time. But 20, 30 years from now, the idea of cable news is going to be a joke.
I think it's not going to be immediate, Mark.
Right.
It's going to take some more time because it's still the Wild West. The internet radio is still the Wild West.
Wild
and
West.
We have to look at it. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's the escape club.
I think that's what that Will Smith song was actually about. Sorry, that was like a Brian McWilliams level bad joke. I'm running out. I'm running out of them now. Guys, Rico, my legal counsel, as always, it's a pleasure. Johnny, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Brian,
thank you, man.
Until that weird Donald Trump joke, things were great as well. Until next time, if you guys don't mind, I'd love you to join me for my usual sign-off. So I'd like to tell all our friends and fans out there, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to what's coming on to an hour of the show at this point of us just shooting the shit. And, we hope this is inspiring conversations or at least alcoholism and many other people out there. So until next time, folks, live long and live free.
I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to say there.
I know, I should have warned you about that.
Head of editing and mastering is John Dolan.
Later, guys.
Later. Nice to meet you, Rico.